Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm autistic and I am also pansexual and grey sexual. The way that I experience my sexuality is definitely related. For me, there's a strong link between my experience as an autistic person and the way that I experience sex and connection and romantic relationships and also friendships. I also am quite fluid with my own gender, although I would identify as she, her. There have been years in my life when I've presented as and behaved as society's traditional expectation of what a male should behave and act as.
If you are a good, genuine, loyal, and reliable person, then it is of no importance to me how you identify. Gender is something that is particularly harder to grasp for me. Neurotypicals describe their experience with their gender as if it's something they've always known and resonated with. For me, I have no connection to my gender. I've always masked to be what I was perceived to be based on who I was around. So my identity has never been something that I've had the privilege to feel. Just knowing that I don't feel like a girl, boy, or other. I just feel like Fion. I use they or them for all people, unless they request otherwise, and I am happy to be addressed by any pronoun myself. I am me, Fion, and don't really associate with having any gender to conform to. I am a cis female and I understand that this is the case biologically, but in terms of who I am, how I identify, how I see myself. I am me. I do not need to be in a category. Other than that, I think many, if not most, AuDHD people would feel similar about this. We are us.
That because being autistic, for me, part of that experience is not feeling this strong urge to conform to society's expectations. And I think that actually that has given me space to be more who I want. I definitely am guilty of quite a lot of masking, which has sort of been a survival tactic. But in terms of how I experience gender, I don't really differentiate between genders in terms of how I feel about them.
My name is Erin, I'm 33 and I am queer and autistic. Now, we know that autistic people are more likely to identify as queer or trans than neurotypical people are, and my personal experience of this is that my sexuality and my gender identity is beautifully interwoven with my autistic identity. My autism shapes the way I experience the world. It's the lens through which I experience everything, and that includes my experience of sexuality and gender. It's why I'm so drawn to the idea of being queer, because I struggle with the specific labels. There's more to it than that. It's a very autistic experience. And it's why I find myself so much drawn to ideas of aut gender and gender vagueness. And these are things I'm only just beginning to explore. And maybe I'm not just the cis woman I thought I was. My gender is something more than that. It's connected to my autism, and I want to start thinking about it that way. I personally find these very, very difficult, and it's been a real journey for me to get to a point of feeling comfortable with that and not feeling ashamed that I've not fulfilled this expectation that you grow up and you pair off and you start a family, and if you don't do that then you failed. That's another very personal autistic experience for me, and in learning to be comfortable diverging from the norm and coming to grips with the fact that maybe things aren't going to follow that very heteronormative path that I was told they would.
I think in terms of romantic relationships, being grey sexual has been quite difficult at times, especially when I've been in a relationship with neurotypicals. That's always been really difficult, not only because the lack of understanding of each other's brains is a big part of that, but also the kind of I'm not a very sexual person, so I don't fit the mould of what people expect a partner to be like in that respect all the time. And I have to have a strong, trusting connection with another person for me to feel sexually attracted to them. So things like one night stands, not for me at all.
Personally, I have never been in a romantic relationship, but I feel strongly that this is due to my AuDHD. 1. I don't like people enough to be around them for extended periods of time, and 2. I don't think it could ever feel safe enough to fully unmask in front of someone. I can't imagine liking someone enough to have them in my safe spaces with their smells, routines, mess, and impacting on how I like things. Romantic relationships just aren't appealing in any shape or form to me. I have neurodivergent friends who function well in a relationship, some within a heterosexual relationship, some with a same-sex partner, and others who are trans and in a relationship with a fellow trans person. I can't think of anything I'd like less.
Being autistic has been difficult in some respects romantically, because the way that I use body language is different to what non-autistic people or neurotypical people expect. So sometimes people have assumed that I'm being really cold when actually I thought I was being friendly. And conversely, sometimes people have thought that I've been flirty when I thought I was just being friendly. And there's been some really big misunderstandings and some pretty horrible situations based off the back of that.
There are several places that are safe for me. Cardiff's Lucy and Yak Store is my main place. The staff are a mix of neurodiverse, queer and trans, and I instantly fit in and can chat and interact with everyone. For now, I don't have much interaction in the world. I go to college, soon I will start at Cardiff Met Uni, and I go to Lucy and Yak and then home. My spaces are limited due to sensory overload, but I hope to broaden my places as I move from college to university and beyond. I know my mum always puts a sign up when she does an event, stating that people are safe to be themselves with her, with an LGBTQ+ flags image and the neurodiversity infinity logo included.
I have been able to find safe spaces to explore my gender and my sexuality as an autistic person, but it has taken time to find my footing and find my community. A lot of my community is online, and I spent a long time thinking that those relationships weren't as valid as relationships that you form in real life, because they're through a screen, they're online. But as long as you are careful and you are sensible, those relationships can grow to be some of the most important ones of your life. The majority of my community and my community action and my friendships are through online spaces, and they have absolutely saved my life. I'm so lucky to have found them. And my advice to anyone who is looking for those spaces is do not discount the online experience.
Safe spaces are the most important places. Not everyone can walk into any space and feel safe. It is not a given. If you feel safe anywhere without even considering it, then you are hugely privileged. Everyone should be more aware of being accepting and non-judgmental of all people. All people are entitled to feel safe at all times.
Being able to find safe spaces with other autistic people and neurodivergent people has been really important to me, because it's helped me understand that the way that I experience gender and sexuality is not weird. It's part of my experience as an autistic person.
Autistic, queer and trans people exist, and we deserve space to be safe and spaces to develop relationships. We deserve to have our relationships validated, whether that be friendships or romantic, and we deserve to be validated as human beings. If you're running an autistic space, you have to be aware of gender and sexuality and make that safe space for your members. If you're running an LGBT plus group, be aware that people in your group could be autistic and they need that space to be safe and accessible for them. Stop seeing people as one thing, as queer, as autistic or trans, and see us as who we are all together, and make sure that your spaces cater to that. We are here, and just because our experiences are different doesn't mean they're any less valid than anybody else's.